We are live. Greetings, greetings, greetings. All right, let me make sure. So, today we're going to be talking about overcoming fear and what's involved with when it comes to fear and shadow work and manifestation, and what is the connection between fear, shadow work, and manifestation. And one of the reasons why I want to talk about this is because I'll be sharing some of the lessons that I've learned over the years when it comes to overcoming fear and how that can show up for you when it comes to manifesting the things that you want. Um, and a lot of what I talk about is from my personal experiences or, from work that I've done over the years with different clients. So I hope that you find this beneficial. And I definitely want to know what your takeaways are as we dive into this topic. So, also, we will be going over I'll do a weekly, I'll pull a card, a tarot card for the week to do a weekly message. That's going to happen towards the end of this video. So be sure to stay tuned with that. And let me do an overview of what overcoming fear is about. So, one of the things when it comes to overcoming fear is it sounds good. It sounds like something we want to do. It sounds, people tell us we're supposed to do it, or this is what you have to do. But what it sounds like versus what it actually is are two different things, right? You can post the quotes about overcoming fear. You can, write the affirmations about overcoming fear. But what is the application of it, right? What do you actually have to do in order to overcome your fear? Do you know what to do? Like, how do you actually do it, right? It's like, you need to do it, but how does it actually work? Right? And that's kind of what I want to dive into when it comes to the lessons, because fear is not something that just goes away, right? It's always something, no matter what stage of your life you are in, whether it's career, if it's family, if it's relationships, if it's your own personal growth, your spiritual journey, right? Your health, your fitness, there is going to be something that you're afraid of, right? That you feel that you lack confidence in, that you're not sure about, right? And fear will bring up certain insecurities and make you question certain things, make you doubt certain things. And this is not something that goes away. It's going to show up in various stages in your life. So first, just accepting that fear is a part of the process. And when it comes to what you do with that fear, that's the most important thing. But before you can do something with it, you have to accept that fear is a part of the process. It's just going to be there. And it's not a bad thing. Fear is not bad. And I feel like there's this unconscious belief that we tend to have about fear being this thing that is wrong, that it's wrong to be afraid, that fear is bad, that fear is something we're not supposed to experience. And that's simply not the case. So when you first start to accept that fear is a part of the process, and when you start to just accept that fear is going to show up, even if everything in your life is going great, there's still going to be areas in your life where fear will show up, and that is okay. Once you get through that, then the lessons that I'm getting ready to share will be a lot helpful, a lot more helpful, because I feel like a lot of people get stuck in just even being upset with the fact that they're afraid about whatever the thing is. So, so let me know how you feel about that. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and what your experiences have been when it comes to just accepting that fear is a thing, right? Just like happiness is a thing, right? It's just something that exists, and it's there for a reason. So now let's talk about one of the lessons that I've learned when it comes to overcoming fear. And let me just pin this. One of the first lessons that I've learned is that if you don't believe it's possible, then it's not. So one of the things with when it comes to fear, just from my own personal experience, anytime that I have just said that's not possible, or I'm not capable of that, or I can't do it, then the universe supports that, right? Like I don't even, it has closed off any possibility of what could be. Whenever I allow myself, when I have allowed fear to tell me that I can't do it, or that it's not possible, or that I'm not good enough for it, or whatever, right? Then it doesn't happen. It turns into something where it actually can turn into self-sabotage, right? So it could be a point where, oh, okay, I get into a situation or into a scenario where it's working out in my favor, but because I don't believe it's possible, something happens to where I screw it up. Something happens to where I end up ruining that situation or that experience because I never believed it was possible in the first place. So even if it falls, even in the situations where it has fallen into my lap, okay, I did something to mess it up. I did something for it to just ruin it, or to ruin the experience, or whatever, right? So that's the first lesson. If you don't believe it's possible, then it's not. And that's where self-sabotage tends to kick in, because what the universe is aligning for you, you are not accepting it. Energetically, you're not accepting it. Emotionally, you're not accepting it. Mentally, you're not accepting it. And even though everything is pointing in that direction, and people can tell you, oh, yes, you can do this. Yes, you're capable. Yes, yes, yes. And other people believe that it's possible for you more than you believe it's possible. And you still, it can fall right into your lap, and you can't even enjoy it. You think you don't even think it's true. You don't even think it's real, or it's just like, no, like, what do you mean? that is from my experience, that is like the beginning of self-sabotage, because you don't believe it's possible. You don't believe it's real. You don't. So all the amazing things could be happening right in your life, but you can't even see it. You can't even see it, even if it's right in front of you. So it's a whole cycle of self-sabotage. That's the beginning of it. That's how it starts. And fear is the culprit, because it's creating the barrier to your belief. So let's go into the second lesson. The second lesson that I've learned when it comes to overcoming fear is that fear will keep you in the exact same place if you let it. So let that sink in for a moment. Fear will keep you in the exact same place if you let it. Now, when it comes to being at a point where you want something different, you want something more, but you're not actually doing what is required to move the needle, to actually create like real change in the things that you're wanting to manifest for yourself. Maybe it's career, maybe you're wanting to change careers, maybe you're wanting, to do something with that, but you're not actually you're just kind of milling around and doing busy work versus doing something that will create actual change, like significant, quantifiable change. It's like, what is that? If you think back to your life 6 months ago or to a year ago, what things are in the exact same place? What things have not changed at all? Because that's what you want to kind of look at. It's like, okay, because the real question is that what you actually want? Are you satisfied with that? Is that what you're really wanting, or are you just accepting it? Are you accepting it like, okay, well, that this is good enough? Or are you looking at the situation as if, okay, I'm in the same place, nothing has actually really changed. Some things have moved around a little bit, but not to the point where you're seeing the results that you're wanting. Do a life review. I highly encourage it. Highly recommend it. Do a life review and look at what has not changed. As a matter of fact, what has gotten worse? Because because you can feel like you're doing busy work, but you're not actually doing anything at all. It's making you feel like you're doing something, but there's nothing to really show for it in the physical world. Sometimes all the stuff is happening in your mind, the things that you think that you want to do. Oh, I can kind of do this, and yep, I could do that. This is when all the learning comes in. Like, oh, well, let me learn this, and let me research that, and let me Google this, and let me think about it. Let me that was my thing. Let me think about it. Let me let me sit with that, and oh, let me do some more research. And I'm a Virgo, so Virgos love to research and take notes and like checklists. We love doing that, right? So when it comes to being in that exact same place, it's like all the work is happening in your mind. Nothing is actually showing up in the physical realm. And if you allow it to stay that way, then that's where you'll stay for as long as you allow fear to keep you there. And the thing is, it's a choice. You can choose to be there, but also don't complain about the things that aren't changing if you're allowing fear to keep you in that same place because you're not doing the thing that you need to do in order for that change to actually happen. So just something to think about. And then if you are at a point where you're experiencing resistance to change, then definitely check out the video that I did, the show that I did 2 weeks ago about resisting change, because I kind of go more in depth about that. But the one thing about fear is, like I mentioned, it will keep you in the exact same place if you allow it to keep you there. But just know that you do have the choice to change that. So let's go into the third lesson that I've learned about overcoming fear. Overcoming fear does not equal avoiding fear. Let me say that again. Overcoming fear does not equal avoiding fear. And I see this happen a lot when it's like it doesn't equate. Overcoming does not mean let me just overlook the fears that I have and pretend that they don't exist and then just go do the thing. No, it doesn't work that way. Overcoming fear, and one of the things I have changed is my language around fear. So I titled this video Overcoming Fear because a lot of people use that term. But what I prefer to say, and what I always tell my clients is, instead of overcoming fear, how about working through the fear? Because overcoming can feel like you have to eliminate the fear completely in order to take the next step. And that is not how it works. At least from my personal experience and from the work that I've done with clients over the years, completely eliminating the fear and doing that is not, first of all, it's not practical. And like I mentioned earlier, Fear is something that's always going to be around. It's more about what you do with the fear. Pretending like it's not there can only work for so long. Trust me. Trust me, I know. It can only work for so long. So, and it'll keep you in the same place, right? You can't just pretend it's not there. Overcoming fear, it does not equal avoiding fear, which I tend to see a lot of people doing. Oh, and then it's like, oh, well, I can't move because I haven't overcome the fear yet. Because if you're not avoiding the fear, then you feel like you have to completely eliminate it out of your life. It's not practical. So changing the reframe for me has been working through fear versus trying to overcome it, trying to defeat fear. No. Use fear to your advantage. Use it to your advantage and work through your shit. Work through it, right? So what that allows you to do when you work through your fear, it allows you to take the actions, take the steps while still being afraid. Some might view that as courage. But again, the reframe, when it comes to these particular words, courage, overcoming, it's like, so I feel like courage feels bigger than, feels like this big thing, this big task. I must have courage. Like it feels like some superhero type shit. And it could feel like a lot to have to hold on to. I must have courage versus let me just work through this. Let me work through the fear. Let me explore it while also doing the work that needs to be done. Or sometimes it's not about doing actual work. Sometimes the work is about stillness. Sometimes the work is about letting go. Sometimes, like I mentioned in the first lesson about if you about belief, right? Sometimes you just need to let go of a belief system, let go of a mindset. And sometimes letting that go allows you to work through the fear. So for example, the first lesson I shared was about if you don't believe it's possible, then it's not, right? If you change your mindset around that and just allow yourself to think, okay, well, what if it is possible? If it is possible, what could that look like? What would I need to do in order to make that possible for myself? Sometimes that's the work. So I don't want you to misinterpret work as being, this hard physical labor. It can be labor, but sometimes it's the labor and is happening within the mind. It's happening within your energetic field. It's happening within your emotions. So it's not always physical work, like shoveling snow or like or like doing a live stream video, right? Right? Sometimes it doesn't involve that, but it's something that is still makes you uncomfortable. So just keep that in mind. Physical work, mental work, emotional work, energetic work. It doesn't matter the type, it can still make you uncomfortable. But if you start to work through it versus feeling like you have to overcome and defeat it before you take the next step, now you can start to make some progress. You can start to get some traction. And I was telling some people in my membership, I think it was last week, it's like think of fear being in the car with you. Instead of fear being in the driver's seat, put fear in the passenger seat. And then when you're ready, put fear in the back seat. And then as you progress, put fear in the trunk. Either way, fear is rolling with you. Right? You just have to decide how you're going to go about using it. Are you going to use it to your advantage? Are you going to allow it to keep you stuck? And maybe I'll go more into like how you can take advantage of fear in a future live stream. I'll think about that, but those are the things when it comes to some of the main lessons that I've learned when it comes to overcoming fear. So, the first lesson, I'll do a quick recap on that, and then I'll go into the connection between fear and shadow work and manifestation. So, the first thing that I shared, first lesson is if you don't believe it's possible, it's not. The second is fear will keep you in the exact same place if you let it. And the third lesson is overcoming fear does not equate to avoiding fear, right? So now let's talk about what is the connection between shadow work and fear and manifestation. So shadow work is something that, if you're not familiar with some of the work I do, I talk about it a lot, or you'll hear me talking about it a lot, because a lot of times people are afraid of shadow work, or people feel like shadow work is this dark, evil thing. And I'm here to change your perception on that, or invite you to consider a new perspective, especially when it comes to the things that you want in your life, when it comes to the things that you want to manifest in your life, when it comes to the abundance that you want to create in your life. Shadow work can play a significant role in that, right? Shadow work doesn't always have to be this dark, painful thing, but it's about the result. What shadow work what is the result of shadow work, right? It is about looking at the things that make you uncomfortable, or the things that you fear, right? So since we're talking about fear, those things that you fear, there's a reason behind that fear. So the first link is understanding the reason behind the fear. This is where shadow work comes into play. What is the reason behind the thing that you fear, the thing, the situation, whatever it is? What is the reason behind that? The connection can be emotional. It can be connected to something spiritual or energetic, or it could be a mindset thing. This fear could be linked to a past life. This fear and that's if you believe in past lives, right? You don't, and if you don't, that's fine. This fear can be linked to a past experience in this current lifetime. It could be something that happened a year ago, or something that happened in your childhood, right? The fear can be linked to what other people have conditioned you to believe about yourself, or about what they believe you should do, or whatever their belief system is. They've conditioned you to believe that, whether that's someone in your family, whether that's through society, whether that's through politics, whether that's through a book you read, and it's like, oh, well, I can't do that because that's not my place, or I can only do that if this, or there's different ways of conditioning. And conditioning isn't always bad, but you just have to look at what are these conditioned beliefs preventing you from doing? How is it holding you back? So these are examples, right, of what is connected to the fear. And shadow work can help you unpack that and understand that. Shadow work is not about is not always about pain, or it's not always about needing to clear and cleanse. But the first step is understanding. The first step is just finding the connections, connecting those dots. So shadow work is the pathway. you can use shadow work as a pathway to understanding and exploring the things that are connected to the fear. Because it's not because fear is always, there's a link to it. There's a reason behind it, right? So it helps you, shadow work helps you unpack that. So I hope that was helpful. So let's talk about, so I've already shared the link between fear to shadow work, right? And just view shadow work as this bridge. Now let's talk about manifestation. The things that you want to manifest in your life, if you're just writing affirmations about it, and there's nothing wrong with affirmations, if that's your thing. If you're just writing things down and you're avoiding the things that are preventing you from manifesting the things that you want, then it's not going to happen. The affirmation is not going to work. It's just going to make you feel good temporarily. It's like a dopamine hit. The fear is just going to be like, okay, this feels good. I feel it. But it's almost like it's not potent enough. Because the work that is required, or what is required for you to really manifest those things that you're wanting in your life, that you're wanting to bring into your life, it requires some more understanding or some more awareness around the barriers to the thing that you are wanting to bring into your life. So when you start to gain the awareness and the understanding and the clarity through the shadow work, right? Through exploring what's connected to those fears, now you have information. Now you see the connection and you can do something about it. So, for example, if something that you're fearing, right? Say that you want to be a public speaker, right? I'm just using an example. And if there's something that that you're currently experiencing, you want to share that, and I can use that as an example of how you can work your way out of that, then feel free to share that here if you want to. Say you want to be a public speaker, but you have this fear, right, of public speaking, and that fear is linked to maybe you were people told you that you can't talk right, or you were teased when you were younger, and that really made you very insecure, and then it made you afraid to speak in public, right, or to public speaking, to speak in front of large crowds. But that's the thing that you're wanting, that's your calling, right? Or maybe it's something that your job is wanting you to do, and that's the thing that can allow you to get you to that point so you can get promoted when you start going out and presenting at different events. But this fear, this thing that's holding you back, is linked to your childhood. When you start to actually unpack that and explore that and understand where it's coming from, now you have a direct point of contact. Your childhood self, right? And you can start to explore, okay, what needs to happen now that I'm aware of this, of where this is linked to, what the root of this fear is. Now I can start to explore, what does that version of me, that childhood version of me, what does she need? What does he need? What do they need in order to work through that fear and start to move past the fear, to work through it and move beyond it, right? Because it's always going to bring you back to the root cause. But when you have an awareness and an understanding and clarity of what the root cause of that fear is, then you can start to actually do something about it, because you know exactly what the source is. So when you understand that, now you can start to expedite your manifestation process because you know what was in the way, you know why it's there. And it might take you a while to unpack all of the why. But now you can start to do the work that is needed. You can start to go back to some of those memories of those experiences if you need to, and really ask yourself, okay, well, what did I believe was true? What in that experience did I believe to be true? And how can I shift my perspective? How can I reframe that belief? Because whatever somebody told you in that, you as a child or you in that past life or whatever, right? There's something that you said yes to in that experience. How can you reframe that? Sometimes it's about forgiveness. Maybe you need to forgive yourself. Maybe you need to change your point of view on the experience. Some healing work will be involved in that. And that's okay too, right? Because once you start to understand what the source is, now you're not just doing some blanket healing on a situation. You're going right to the specific source of the situation. I feel like a lot of times we kind of use this generalized form of like, okay, everything's going to be all right, or you're trying to just create this general blanketed type of form of healing or form of just trying to work through stuff. But it's so much easier when you start to specify the thing that's keeping you stuck. And shadow work allows you to do that. And it could be this one little thing. You could be on the right path, and it's this one little tweak, this one little thing, this one little moment of awareness, and it just will completely catapult your progression when you have that understanding and that realization. And it could just be a simple act of forgiveness of self, a simple act of letting go, or maybe you're holding on to anger because for whatever reason, right? And you have every right to feel every emotion that you do. But when you start to understand it and when you start to work through those things, get the clarity from it, now you know why it's keeping you stuck. And you can start to see how those patterns, because there's always a pattern, how that has shown up over the course of your life when it comes to this thing that you're wanting to manifest. And the sooner that you explore that, the easier it will be for you to start bringing in more of what you desire. So I hope that was helpful. And let me know if you have any questions about anything that I've shared. You can post your questions in the comments, and let me know if anything was confusing, if this resonates, kind of where you're at. And if you don't want to post in the comments, you can always send me a message on my Instagram if you have a specific question that you don't feel comfortable sharing or posting in the comments. But so we see that we have fear. Shadow work is the bridge to your manifestation. And this is important if you are wanting to experience something, you're wanting to bring certain things into your life, and you keep feeling like you're stuck. You keep feeling like you can't, it's not happening, or you kind of get little bits of it, little crumbs of it, but it's not showing up in that bigger way. And then you can start to look at, what is the fear? Is there a fear connected to it? What is the link? What is the fear connected to? That's part of the work. That is part of the process that I have personally learned over the years, that has definitely allowed me to um, manifest more in my life or have a greater impact, like increase the like effectiveness of the things that I'm wanting to manifest in my life. And manifestation doesn't always have to be, oh, I want to have a bunch of money, or oh, I want to, like, it doesn't have to be about like possessions and things like that. You might want to manifest love in your life. You might want to manifest more peace in your life, right? It doesn't always have to be about some type of physical thing. So you see, I'm shuffling. I'm getting ready to go into the weekly collective message. And let me pop in the comments. Greetings. Welcome, welcome. How are you? I definitely have come to terms with fear always being around. Good. Yes. I feel like that part, like when you start to accept it as a thing, it makes life so much easier, because it's like, okay, like this is just, you're just here and I'm gonna have to deal with you. It allows you to just be able to handle fear in a much better way when you just accept it. So yeah. Greetings. How are you, Erin? Welcome, welcome. So I've talked about fear, overcoming fear, and the link between fear, shadow work, and manifestation, and how these things can slow down or like kind of create barriers to your manifestation, and how it can be beneficial to you manifesting more effectively. And I hope that if you feel like shadow work is this scary, intimidating thing, I hope that my explanation has made shadow work feel a bit more accessible. And I do have other videos on my YouTube channel that specifically talk about shadow work, and you can definitely find that. I have playlists on shadow work, so you can definitely find that. Oh, okay, so we're going into the collective message, and I'll be doing that with tarot. And we got two cards here. We got the Fool, and we have the Page of Pentacles. So, and I'll do a recap from the last couple of weeks, because at the end of each month, I'm going to do kind of an overview of the cards that were pulled over the weeks, so we can kind of see the connection there. But it's interesting that we get these two cards in relation to the topic for today, which is about overcoming fear and using shadow work for manifestation, right? We have the Fool, which is part of the major arcana. It is the first card in the tarot, and then we have the Page of Pentacles, which represents the physical realm, right? It represents the element of earth. It is also, when it comes to wanting to manifest things in the physical realm, right? The Pentacles is about that. It's about the money. It's about the coins. It's about getting the things that you want. But so when it comes to this, right, overcoming fear and using shadow work for manifestation, sometimes this is about a new journey when it comes to bringing these two things together. The Page represents like the level of experience, or the level of experience, the level of awareness, or the role in which your totem pole. It's like you're the beginner, like you're the freshman in high school, right? And so sometimes it's about completely reframing how you even view fear, and reframing how you go about manifesting things in your life, and why, and the reason behind the manifestation. And I talked about the links between like fear and shadow work being this bridge, right? But also look at the things that you're wanting to bring into your life. What is the reason behind that? And the things that you're wanting to manifest, can you handle it? Are you at a point, are you ready to receive it? Because that's going to require you to do something different, to do something, to move differently. You can't, when you want to bring something else into your life, you're starting a whole new journey. And the Fool is about starting a new journey. The Fool is about stepping out on faith. But you also have to be in a point to where you are ready to bring that in, and not just bring it in, but maintain it. Can you maintain the thing that you're actually wanting to manifest? Can you maintain that? Can you hold on to it? Can you use that and then grow from that? Because that is going to require you to move differently, to do something different. Like this, it's a catch-22. So I talked about how if you don't believe something's possible, then it's not. If you manifest, you get what you want. I talked about self-sabotage. Say you get that new job, you get the new job, you get the promotion or whatever, but now you're not fully handling it. And now the extra money that you're earning is now it's you're not even, you're just spending it on whatever because you're not in the energetic space or the emotional space to fully hold on to the thing that you're wanting to manifest. So it just kind of comes and goes. So manifestation is also about aligning the thing that you want to manifest with the new journey that's required once you get it. And being able to maintain those things. Are you at a point where you are willing to do that? And it's not something to where, oh, okay, I have this thing, and like you're not going to feel prepared. So don't feel like you're going to feel prepared for everything. You're not. And that's part of the Fool as well. The Fool has this little satchel, right? This little handbag. And the Fool is still walking and trusting the process, moving forward. Sometimes that can feel like being naive. But when you start leaning into the thing that you trust, and especially when you trust yourself, and you're trusting in your intuition, you're trusting your ancestors, your spirit guides, whatever you believe, whatever you're into, right? When you start to trust that, and when you start to trust that you are worthy of receiving the thing that you want to manifest in your life, then all you need is the satchel. All you need is the satchel. Because it's all within you. And then you can start to build from there. But you have to go in it with a new state of mind. You have to go in it in this, and sometimes you have to go in it with like not really a blank canvas, but going in with just with a new sense of awareness, just being ready to learn. Like, who am I now as I am wanting to bring these things in my life? Who do I need to become in order to maintain these things that I'm bringing into my life? Who do I need to become in order to continue to build and expand on that? You're learning who you are. The Fool takes you on that journey. So think about journey of self. The Fool is allowing you to explore that. That's the opportunity here. And if you see here, we have the Fool and the Page of Pentacles, and they're looking in opposite directions. So sometimes you can be stuck in only looking at what's happening in the physical, but not looking at the journey that you need to take. And you can feel torn because the thing that you're currently doing here, you're going to feel torn because you don't want to go this opposite direction. It can feel like you have to completely change everything, and sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to dismantle it all when it comes to your actions, when it comes to your mindset. It's going to take you in a different direction, but eventually you will return back. But then you'll be in a different place. You'll be in an elevated place. So let's talk about the card from last week. So the overall message here is you can't start a new journey if you're holding on to the current things. Like, you're holding on to the current habits, you're holding on to the current mindset, you're holding on to the things that are keeping you where you are. You have to be open to taking a new route, exploring a new route, exploring a new way of doing it, trying something else. You can always return back to this. But if you want something different, you have to be willing to do something different. Are you willing to do that? Are you ready and willing to trust that process? And trusting the process, that doesn't mean that you have to do it by yourself. Maybe you need an accountability partner. Maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need, a program to sign up to. Maybe you need to, take a class. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. But are you willing to explore that? Because you can't have both at the same time. You can't stay where you are and want something different. Because you're just going to stay there and just be thinking about it, but you're not going to take the action. So let me know what you thought about that. And then let me just do let me find the card from last week, which I believe was the 3 of Cups. And let me just pull that really quickly. Last week we got 3 of Cups. And the week before that we got the 10 of Swords. Let me find it. Here it is. Okay. So last week we got the 3 of Cups. The week before that, we got the 10 of Pentacles. So the 10 of Pentacles was about the mind. The 3 of Cups is about the emotions and relationships, right? And now we're going into looking at the journey that's required in order for you to get out of where you're at, right? You can stay focused here, but if you don't turn around and look in another direction, then you're going to stay right where you're at. Is that what you want? It's okay if it is. It's okay if it is. On the other hand, right? If you're too busy going all over the place and then you're not focused, and you're not staying focused, and you're just you're creating like distractions, you're allowing yourself to stay distracted and prevent you from actually staying here. That's the other side of this. And Spirit just pinged me with that. Was like, wait, there's people watching, whether you're watching live or watching the replay, where you are allowing yourself to be distracted. You're doing too much, and then you need to be here, right? So this message is twofold. Some of you need to stop staying stuck and start to explore what else is out there. Step out of your comfort zone. Trust that you are going to be guided. You have to start to trust that, right? And some of you are too busy fooling around, being distracted all over the place, and you need to sit down somewhere. Sit down, type the memorandum, sit down and update your resume, sit down and meditate, sit down and email those clients, sit down and post your blog. Okay. Send the email, start the business, start the workout routine. Like, so it goes both ways. Let me know which side are you on. Let me know which side are you on. Greetings, greetings. That's been my thing lately, making sure I'm sticking to the plan. Yes. Right. So this goes twofold, right? And sticking to the plan and allowing yourself to you can stick to your plan and also maintain flexibility in that plan. And identifying what is a distraction and what is for me, and challenging self-limiting beliefs. Awesome. That's good. I'm glad you mentioned that you're challenging self-limiting beliefs, because I'll be talking about that next week. Actually, I'll be talking about limiting beliefs and how they show up in your life. So definitely stay tuned for that. Yeah, spirit told. I'm telling you, spirit will do it, child. Spirit will do it. So, just to recap the cards for this week's collective message, we got two cards. We got the Fool and we got the Page of Pentacles. So the message is twofold. If you are too busy staying in one place and you're being too rigid here, then it's time for you to start to explore and expand and have some more flexibility there. Start to trust in that process, right? And navigate this new journey that you're kind of avoiding. And the other way is, if you're being you're too much all over the place, it's time to start refining down and getting being more focused on the things that you actually want to manifest, right? And start doing the work that's required there. All right. So it has been a pleasure. If you like this video, be sure to like this video, hit the like button, and yeah, share it with a friend if you thought it was helpful. I will be here next week, Tuesday, 5 o'clock Central Time. So I'll see you then. Enjoy your evening, and I'll talk to you on the next one.